Good to be with you again. Well, it's that time of year. The days grow shorter, the nights are longer. And I'm sure you have noticed at times some people who are usually very happy through life become very down, despondent, and despairing at this time of the year with all the darkness. Depression is a very real reality that we have to deal with in our society. We're told there are some 16 million Americans who have experienced severe mental illness at some point, depression. And it affects not only the spirit and the mind, but the body, everything in life, all the relationships. No one's been able to figure out exactly why it is that some people experience depression and others don't. Everyone seems to be different in the way they approach it and what helps them. We're amazed to realize that, for example, Sir Winston Churchill, the great leader of Britain during the Second World War, used to speak of his black dogs, which he regularly experienced. Bouts of depression, anxiety, fear, worry. Sometimes it even affects people we'd never dream of. I was particularly amazed to realize that Terry Bradshaw, who won so many football awards, Super Bowls, always appearing on TV as a commentator and always laughing, joking, throwing everyone else into convulsions of laughter. And finally, he admitted publicly that he had been suffering with depression for so many years. But he finally came public because he thought maybe his story would help others who experience depression and don't know what to do about it. It can be a very painful thing. And for people of faith, in a way, it can pose a special problem. Usually it is our faith that helps us to take life in measure, knowing that the difficulties, the setbacks, the defeats are part of life. We get through them. We have a certain hope of goodness and mercy and love of our God triumphing over all evil. That's what our faith is all about. We are the people of hope. But when it affects a person of hope and faith, in a way it can be even more difficult. Someone is left wondering, why isn't God answering my prayers? Why doesn't God deliver me from this? Oh, this is awful. I was amazed to read about one nun who admitted she had gone through 18 years of severe depression. And yes, she said, all that was part of her carrying the cross with Christ. But eventually, all of her prayers led her to a new life, to peace, to healing in the mercy of the Lord. I think we need to reach out to others in our prayer, especially at this time where we are told because of the COVID restrictions that so many other people are experiencing depression. So many even leading to the ultimate, which is suicide. A person who has no hope ends their life. Yes, we need to be praying for a lot of people who are suffering very quietly in this time of isolation. People who ordinarily would be in contact with lots of other people who suddenly are alone. Very alone. And that's always been part of the theory of solving the problem of depression. The worst thing is to be isolated, alone. Some folks have said if we're to deal with depression, we need to take some steps. One would be to focus on what you can control. Yeah, there are some things in life that we just can't control. We can't be in charge of everything. And when we acknowledge that and let it fit into our life, we move on. We need to get help when we need it, or if we know someone who is in that state and needs help. Sometimes it means seeking the help of a psychiatrist or psychologist. Sometimes medication is able to help those dealing with severe bouts of depression. And yes, we fight it with treatment, and above all, with the help and support of others whom we know and love and care about. Out of her own 18-year journey with depression, daughter of St. Paul's, Sister Catherine Hermes, came to see that living with depression could be a way of the cross that bears the fruit of inner peace. Yes, perhaps this time above all, we need to be aware of folks in our families, our friends, who need our help, who are in a state of depression, isolated. We need, in some way, with all due respect to the restrictions of our time, to reach out to those whom we love and care about, to be some sort of support for them, a presence that is healing. I was struck by the words of Pope St. John Paul II when he said, "Christ took all human suffering on himself, even mental illness." Yes, even this affliction, which perhaps seems the most absurd and incomprehensible, configures the sick person to Christ and gives him a share in his redeeming passion. Yes, those are wise words from Pope St. John Paul II. So let us pray for those who are suffering in many ways, but especially with mental illness, depression, perhaps at this time of year, perhaps because of the restrictions made even more intense. Pray for one another, reach out to one another in loving kindness and support. Yes, we turn to our God for healing mercy. God bless you, your loved ones, your family. God bless our nation in this very difficult time.